Okay, students, I would like to take some time now to show you a really good sample of an argumentative essay. And so I'm going to pull this up from my computer. I've got it highlighted. And this is an argumentative essay that was written by Nathan Ibsen. And the topic is paying college athletes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my outline for an argumentative essay to talk about the particular features that you should have in an argumentative essay. For example, this part in blue up here on the top is the grabber sentence. Now a grabber sentence is generally going to be a quote, a question, or a dramatic statement that gets the readers interested in your topic very quickly. And I think that happens here. The call to pay athletes in college for competing in their respective sports is deafening. And then what you have here in brown in the middle here is basically some philosophy or background information that helps to introduce the thesis. You don't want to launch into the thesis immediately. You want to talk a little bit about it first, and that's what this brown part does. These voices cry that the unpaid service they render compares this situation to the dark burden of slavery. These people also contend that if the universities can afford to pay their coaches a hefty salary, while NCAA employees are sitting on a pile of cash made by other people, then they can afford to pay the laborers for their work. The opposing side of the debate strongly stipulates the idea that athletes aren't rewarded for their services because they are given free transportation to athletic events, free use of facilities, all in addition to the scholarship money craved by innumerable students. Moreover, they contend that if college athletes were to be paid, it would annihilate the competitive balance that so many of us love. The opinions scorching this subject have no gray lines. Everybody is either for or against the payment of college athletes. So again, some good background information that leads to the thesis statement in yellow here. With all that being stated, because competitive balance is so important to the entertainment of the American people, and because college athletes are already rewarded with free travel, free use of facilities, and great scholarship money, collegiate athletes should not be paid. Okay, so stating some reasons here as well. So these reasons can probably be outlined as part of the body paragraphs that support the thesis statement here. Again, the main thesis here, the main point, the main claim is that collegiate athletes should not be paid. So what we have here in dark blue is, and this whole paragraph is in blue and a little bit of red because this is the counter argument against the idea that college athletes should not be paid. And so the first argument is made here that says those who seek that payment reach the participants of college athletics argue that not giving the laborers their due cash is nearing slavery in many aspects because the athletes are laying their time and bodies on the line without reward. So that's one of the main counter arguments. It's always important that when you put in a counter argument that you refute it, and that's exactly what Nathan has done here. However, this is simply false, as not one penny comes out of the participants' pockets to pay for the countless plane tickets and trips to the practice facility they consume. If the athletes are paid, it would mean they would be required to pay their own way on the road trips. The athletes can't have it both ways. They must accept one or the other. Another point for the counter argument, another mainstream argument brought to the table by those in support of payment is the large amount of money that goes towards the employees of the NCAA and a lot of the coaching staffs around the country. They argue that those in hierarchy above the players are taking advantage of their services to support themselves. The refute, Their argument makes it sound as if the athletes get absolutely nothing out of their time and efforts. However, the average Division I college athlete in the U.S. is awarded $2,625 every year for 4 years, compared to the U.S. average totaling $1,500 per year for those on academic-driven scholarships. The part in red is a hard fact or statistic, and so I'll always put those in red. But continuing the refutation here, the idea that college athletes are treated like slaves is ridiculous, as they participate willingly and are well compensated for their time and efforts with other resources money can't buy. So pretty good way of refuting the counter arguments. The important thing is that you do have a paragraph in there that indicates the counter arguments, and then you've got to refute those. Okay. Here's the first body paragraph that supports the point or the claim that college athletes should not be paid. So the first body paragraph and the first topic sentence, contrasting what the pro-pay promoters assert are those who agree that Division I athletes don't need to be rewarded with cash because they have instead been given something far more valuable. When confronted, now the part in light blue here is some expert opinion. Okay. When confronted about the issue at hand in an interview with Stephen A. Smith of ESPN, perhaps the greatest college basketball coach of all time, Mike Krzyzewski, said he didn't believe college athletes needed to be paid cash for their services. He stated that every one of his players was exempt of at least $100,000 per year just in traveling expenses and sports gear alone, not to mention all the other perks that come with the opportunity. Coach Krzyzewski has coached for 36 years at the University of Duke, and he was very adamant that college athletes did not merit a paycheck because of all the other benefits thrown their way. Obviously, this was a quote written by Stephen Smith. Okay, but again, you've got an expert opinion here, including an opinion both by Stephen A. Smith and also by Mike Krzyzewski, who's he's quoting here. Well, he's not quoting Krzyzewski, but he's indicating what Krzyzewski has said. So now the green here, this is your warrant or your interpretation and analysis of how the data supports the thesis, and also the topic sentences. The topic sentence here. Okay. No better expert on how college athletes should be run can be found who is more informed through studying and personal experience than his coach Mike Krzyzewski, and he clearly doesn't think Division I athletes should be paid. It would be absurd after all the special treatment the athletes receive, to turn around and hand them thousands of dollars on a silver platter. Okay, the next body paragraph, topic sentence. The poison flowing through the veins of college athletes is not the lack of payment, but the lack of emphasis on education. Fact, less than 2% of Division I athletes go on to become professional athletes. Again, the parts in red are facts or statistics. Commentary or analysis. With so few able to make a career out of their respective athletic talents, the focus should not be to get them used to being paid to do those activities. The real focus should be aimed toward educating these people and readying them for their future careers. Another fact, moreover, recent surges of philosophical thought that alludes to the idea that athletics come before education has led to a 13% dip of graduation rates of Division I athletes in the past 10 years. So another hard fact here. Analysis. That staggering statistics illustrates the seriousness of how the value of education has been usurped by the other activities. Probably should put a make that singular. Although there are some good alternatives, none of them should be more important to the athletes than educating themselves. Okay, next body paragraph. Again, you can see the topic sentence. In addition to being impractical and acting as a distraction of the real problem, paying college level athletes would crumble the competitive balance that is so beloved in our country. Expert opinion. The only conceivable option to pay the players would consist of the university forking out its dollars to the athletes. This would prove to be devastating to the smaller market schools, as all the A-grade recruits would choose the big-name schools who offered more money. And that you can see how that would absolutely happen. The schools with the more money would get the better athletes. Fact, for instance, in Division I basketball in 2013, only 20 of the 1,083 programs even broke even in terms of money intake versus expenses. Okay, and then the analysis. Allowing players to be paid would profit only the very richest schools in the nation. The other 95% of universities would struggle immensely just to tread water in the athletic pool. Allowing the universities to pay the athletes would do nothing but kill the level of competitive balance that sports fans love today. Hopefully you can see the pattern here that this writer is using. The pattern that he's using is he's got a strong introductory paragraph with a strong thesis statement. He's got a counter argument paragraph, and then his body paragraphs have a topic sentence, either some kind of evidence or data that supports the topic sentence, such as facts or statistics, expert opinion, primary research, personal or relevant anecdotes which support the subclaim. And when you've got all that, along with your analysis, and you have to have analysis in every paragraph. You can't just have the data. You've got to have some analysis. When you do all that, then you can become very you strengthen your writing, and your argumentation becomes very powerful. Okay. Again, next paragraph here, topic sentence, some facts or statistics. Look at all the green. There's quite a bit of analysis there as well. You got to have that analysis along with the facts. Expert testimony or expert opinion, but again some facts, and then again some more green. That analysis that's necessary. And then you have a conclusion. So the great debate rages on about whether collegiate athletes should be paid for their efforts in their respective sports. On the one hand are those who think the athletes are being exploited for the gain of just a few, while on the other hand are those who believe transferring them money would only bring ruin to the competition so beloved by many. And then I have this in green because this is basically a summative or a summary of everything that's been said. Moreover, paying the Division I athletes would only serve as a mask to conceal the true problem gnashing at his or her future. Finally, by giving the athletes a paycheck, it would hurt them in the long run because of all the opportunities they would lose with the perks that would dissipate. So there probably could have been a little bit more done to enhance this conclusion, but it serves the purpose, I believe. I wouldn't say that his conclusion is his best quality in this paper, but there are other qualities here that are really good that I wanted you to see. So again, the very important thing to do in writing an argumentative essay is to make sure that you have a counter-argument paragraph and try to refute whatever is there. If I took out all this stuff in light blue and only kept the stuff in blue, and if I took out this stuff in red right here, it would make it look like it would weaken the writing of the whole essay, because it would make it look like I almost agreed. And if I agreed with what these people are saying here in hard blue, that destroys my argument here a little bit. where that takes away from my ability to be argumentative and to be persuasive regarding my main point that collegiate athletes shouldn't be paid. And so in some of the paragraphs, some of the argumentative essays that I've read from other students, I've seen that happen a lot, where they mention the counter argument, but they don't say enough to refute it. They don't use statements like "this is simply false" or it would, they can't have it both ways. You have to refute the counter argument. You can't just state it. Okay. And again, in every good argumentative essay, you have a combination of evidence and data. You can see that there's plenty of that in this essay. That's why we do a little bit of research. And I want you to notice that I don't have I didn't show the works cited page. There will be a works cited page for your paper, but this works well enough for us to see the basic concept of how to put it together, the content together. So, all right, signing off.